What up? Why doesn't the NBA allow for high school players to come straight out of high school into the league? I don't get it. And I've done a little research, and it seems like they came up with this rule, I think back in 2005 or 2006. It's one of those years. And it was part of the CBA that was getting written up back then. And one of the main reasons cited for doing this was in order to improve the quality of play. So, I don't know what you guys think, but to me, some of the best players that the NBA has ever seen have come out of high school. To name a few, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, Kevin Garnett, Amari Stoudemire, the list goes on and on. But you've also had players that came out of high school that didn't pan out, like Kwame Brown, right? But I think if the goal is to raise the quality of play, I don't think changing it from basically saying that a guy who's 18 years old, who just finished his senior year of high school, is going to be of lower quality than a guy that finishes high school and then plays barely a season of college basketball or plays internationally for a year. That's going to change a lot. I really don't think that's going to change a lot. So I don't think the quality of play has changed virtually at all since this rule has been enabled. And I think it would serve a lot of players better to be able to come out of high school and go straight to the league. I think it would just, I don't know. Me personally, a lot of teams are already drafting for potential, and they're drafting guys who are exactly what I mentioned. They're drafting guys that are 1 year removed from high school. They either want to go play in the G League, or they want to go play overseas, or they played a season in college. And then you're drafting them, and you're drafting them for the purpose of, they're not going to reach their potential until they're 23. Okay, well then why the when you just pick them out of high school? But you can't, right? So to me, it's I just don't get it. If guys need to, they feel like their best chance to make it into the league is as a high schooler or as a recent high school grad, I personally think you should be able to do that. There's look at Europe. Luka Doncic was playing professional basketball, I think, when he was 15 years old, right? And look at how good he's gotten. So I don't necessarily know if you let, guys play in the league if they're, 16 years old. But that was a conversation that they had around LeBron when he was in high school. Was everyone was saying that LeBron should have, went to the draft when he was a junior in high school. But if he had done that, he might not have gone number one because that was the draft with Yao Ming. So obviously a lot of people are going to pick, this 7'5", 7'6", anomaly of a human being over this high school phenom. Probably would have been the wrong choice, but, I don't think LeBron necessarily needed to, rush out of high school, right? He was going to get drafted. Everybody was dubbing him the chosen one and this and that and whatever. So, but I do think if LeBron had to go to college and do all stuff, it just would have been unnecessary, right? And frankly, I think it serves as a detriment to college basketball, right? There's just no, consistency in college basketball. And I think that's because, if you're going to have them go to college, you should have them go for, at least 2 years. Having a guy go for 1 year, I don't know, to me it just doesn't make sense. And then you have guys that go to college and they don't really play that much and then they get drafted. I think Kyrie Irving played 11 games at Duke. James Wiseman played 3 games for Memphis and then got drafted, right? I just don't think it makes a lot of sense, in terms of that being the basis of your argument that letting guys have 1 more year after high school is going to improve the quality of play because guys are older. I don't think that has any sort of weight, in my opinion. So if I were the NBA, I would say, let guys come out of high school, right? And if you're trying to protect players, that's another thing. But whether they're in college or in high school, whether they're 18 years old or 19 years old, like, if a guy's making a bad decision for his career, you know, that's just what's going to happen. And frankly, that the NBA shouldn't feel responsible for that, you know. And if guys aren't ready to play in the league, you should have faith in your coaches in the NBA that those guys aren't going to play. They're going to go to the G League. They're going to, like, you're not just going to have coaches that are going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to play you because people want to see you play. Sure, in some situations that might happen, right? But most of the time, if you're picking someone number 1, number 2, number 3 overall, like, they're going to play anyway because they're not going to be a finished product when they get into the league. And you need to let them play so they get used to the NBA style of play. They get used to the flow of the game, all that stuff. So to me, I think the rule is it's just a little dumb. I don't really see the point of it. I think it would make things more exciting. And I think it would just, you know, it would make the game a lot more interesting. Because like I said, you've had all these great players come out of high school. And for a lot of players, I think confidence is more important than experience, right? So, you know, and some of them don't play like amazingly the second they come into the league. Like Kobe didn't really start popping off until his, you know, second, third year in the league. You know, his first year, I don't even think he averaged 10 points. So it's different for everybody, but the players have to be able to make those decisions for themselves. And if players aren't able to make good decisions for themselves, they're going to fizzle out of the league. But that shouldn't be the league's problem, right? So I think it would honestly be good for the marketability of the league to let high school phenoms come out and just go straight to the NBA, because, you know, you don't really see hoop mixtapes for people that are in college. Like, college is a different game. It's not as flashy. I honestly think high school is more similar to the NBA than college is to the NBA, just because of the rules and how it's a little bit different. But, you know, like, you see high school superstars. You don't really see college superstars anymore. Like, Zach Edey was player of the year, and he's not like some flashy guy. He's not, but what would you call him, a college superstar? Yeah, I guess you could say that, but you don't really see a lot of those guys that are, you know, and he was in college for a long time. He was in college for 4 years, and you saw that growth, right? So for some players, it makes sense to do that. But for a lot of other players, they're just going to college because they have to. They're not going to college because they want to, right? And I think that's where I think the rule is affecting college basketball and other forms of semi-pro basketball a lot more. So, in my opinion, get rid of the rule. You know, go back to how it used to be. You'll probably see some great players enter the league straight out of high school, and it just makes for better stories, right? So, the NBA, you should hear me out. You know, I think it would be cool. So.